now for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number is area code 267-687-0026. And as always, we'd like to remind you the Shop Report is now being powered by none other than the fine folks over at Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. You can look them up on Facebook at RDM Detroit, or you can go to their website, rocketdigital.net. That's ROCKIT digital.net, and you can tell them the BSJ sent you. Joining us on the P-Rogram today is none other than my cat from the NYC, a.k.a. Rucker Park. Brother Rich, what's happening?
Go Brown. That's what's happening. Super Bowl champion. Future Super Bowl champion. That's what's happening.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot you was in the Madden and all like that. I hope your season goes well, continues on. And on the other side of the ledger, we got my man from up north, Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
Mobile sports betting has arrived up north just in time for Mahomes and the Chiefs to put an arrow into the behind of those Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, because nobody circles the wagons like. Gotcha. And last but not least, my man from the CO Lum Bus. I'm glad you could join us. D. Gully, what's the deal?
What's up? What's happening? Let's get it to cracking. I'm ready for talking. Let's get into action.
Yeah, I'm going to need all three of y'all not to quit y'all's day jobs. I thought I was tired. That was tirade. But anyway, on to the action. We're going to jump right into things today. You know, we got, of course, as always, we got to take your pick. We want to know who from the panelists and all those who might want to call in or out there listening, who has the better hands? You know, that's an ongoing debate in all the sports circles, if you would, or water cooler talk. Who has the best hands in the NFL when it comes to NFL wideouts? Sometimes people say, is it this guy, is it Hopkins, or is it that guy? But today we got our own two selections, and that, of course, is Chris Carter or Larry Fitzgerald. I want to say, who are you picking? In addition to that, we're going to recap the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and, of course, talk about Brother Rich and Double J's beloved Cleveland Browns, my man Gully's Buffalo Bills. They seem to have circled the wagons, but that job is not complete. And Barbershop Jay, you know me, I'm always 50-50. But first up, I want to ask this question. This is not necessarily a question of the day. This question came up because I watched a recap. Excuse me, not a recap. I watched a replay of the Golden State Warriors and the L.A. Lakers game the other night. And, of course, you know, Facebook is the place. Social media has its benefits, but then it's just nauseating at times. And, of course, after the Golden State Warriors came back, the Lakers had a 722-point lead late in the fourth quarter, and miraculously, somehow, my man with the braids, I don't even know what you call a hairstyle, with Steph Curry, put on a Steph Curry-type performance, you know, with a bunch of, you know, as people, they love to say now what guy has a bunch of bums and so on and so forth. This talk is amazing to me here nowadays. Steph led the Warriors on a comeback last night. But I listened to some of the chatter, and I actually turned on the TV just to get a brief sample of what the talking heads were saying in regards to that game. And it's just the favoritism and the nepotism. Yeah, and I'm saying nepotism when it comes to sports, the professional sports nowadays, in my opinion, especially the NBA, it is upchuck worthy. All they talked about is how the Lakers lost that game. They said little to, if nothing at all, about what the Warriors did to come back. So I got to thinking, because some guy on Facebook said, oh, God, I can't even remember his exact words. I almost fell out the chair laughing at it. But it has something to do with, oh, man, you know, the comebacks, they was ripe for a comeback. They took their... So my question is, two parts, actually. What made me think about this was the 3-1 comeback, because somebody else mentioned that in this thread in particular. when the Cavs, of course, came back against the Warriors in the finals, when the Warriors won 73 games or whatnot. And my question, what the first part is, when it comes to a comeback, why is only one team given mention in the process of coming back, and no one seems to realize that the other team had a lot to play or a large role to play as well, or part to play in the comeback, if that makes any sense? And then, two, I get being a fan of whatever team, okay? And here's what I mean by the favoritism and nepotism. We all get it. Everybody's in love with the Lakers, right? They're what's happening right now. They're most popular, so everybody's on the bandwagon. But when it comes to fandom, I'd like to know, at what point does reality get an invite? Gully, we'll start with you, the first part of the question. When it comes to a comeback, as again in the case of the 3-1 comeback, everybody talks about what the Cavs did. The Cavs came back, but nobody talks about how Golden State played a part in it. They start sloughing off possessions, i.e. too many wasted possessions that you've heard me mention before when it comes to the NBA, which is why I really don't watch it anymore. I watch just enough to do a show and to tell my sons constantly and continuously, don't do what you see being done here. I'm sorry, Gully. Would you please help us out and answer that first part, please?
It's the story that sells, right? Because it's always told from the perspective of the narrative you wanted to say. Here's what I mean. If the Warriors had been above 5, well, I mean, they're above, the 76 after the victory. If the Warriors looked anywhere close to the dynasty Warriors that they were, that's a video game, by the way. But if they looked anything close to that, then the narrative definitely would have shifted in terms of how it was talked. The Warriors led epic comeback led by Steph Curry. But it's the flavor of the day. It got to be, LeBron James and the Lakers, they failed. Or LeBron James and the Lakers came up short. Well, a comeback is pretty much a comeback is always, no matter how you like to put it, a comeback is always the swinging of momentum. That's always what leads to it. You know what I mean? The momentum swung in favor of the Warriors, or the Warriors grabbed hold of momentum, and they made a victory out of it. That's how it should be talked about. But so long as the Lakers are everyone's favorite team to hate, or everyone's favorite to win, whatever they do, whatever a team does to surprise them will be a failure of that team. And that's basically what it is.
So wait a minute. So in essence, well, not in essence, but it's not okay. We hear this team or this guy for that team that won. Oh, he hit the shot. Yeah, true that. But how do you dismiss or overlook the fact that the other guy missed 5 shots? You get what I'm saying? How do we talk about one side and not the other side? Or there's a combination of the two. Would you not agree, Brother Rich?
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Oh, go ahead, Gully. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, when you look at it, if you were to look at it, though, if we were to talk about it as the swinging of momentum, then we would be able to discuss, then we would accurately discuss what Golden State did down the stretch to bring it to them and what the Lakers failed to do down the stretch. But when we want to say the Lakers are the favorite the Lakers are the favorite to win the finals and your favorite team to love or hate, then it's always going to be everything that the Lakers did do to lose a game, and nothing about the Warriors staying close, battling back, and doing what they needed to do, showing the championship medal that never really left anywhere by key members like Draymond, like Steph Curry. You're never gonna highlight that if you want to say that the empire or whatnot is still around. You know what I mean?
Okay, got you, Brother Rich. What say you? When it comes to the comeback, why is it seems to be only one team gets credit for the comeback and the other team gets no mention of opening the door up for the other team to get the comeback or for the comeback to take place?
We have let's call it what you call it. Today BA. What drives today BA? Marketing. What Gully was telling us. It's about the matchups. It's about who sells. It's about the fact that everybody know they want to see the Lakers. LeBron is the most popular player in the world right now. The Lakers are the most popular basketball team. So as Gully was pointing out to us, you either got people rooting for or against the Lakers. And so just that factor alone. And then never forget that we were told by a credible NBA referee that when the games get disproportionately out of whack, they're instructed to kind of bring them back into some kind of control because they want the fans to stay engaged with the game. And so there's a couple of factors that play there, but it's just the NBA. That's the way the NBA is. The NBA is not given to its marketing now. It's not given to the game that you and I grew up playing. That's not what we're watching on television anymore. And that's why you tell your children, don't do that. Because you know that a lot of stuff, you know that it's not, we don't normally have 7'4" guys trying to shoot 3-pointers.
Ooh.
Now you got 6'5" guards are now shooting 60-footers regularly in the NBA. People are regularly pulling up over half court and trying to shoot and shooting jumpers. Now you'll have a few guys make that. So now when everybody goes to the gym, and this is how we're playing the game. Today we have an NBA that you don't have a center, you don't have a forward, you have everybody's kind of doing anything. LeBron handles the ball right now. He's listed as what, but he plays this position. We knew what Isaiah Thomas did. We knew what Magic Johnson did, and when he did it in his way. But we knew what he did. We knew what Larry Bird did. We knew what Dr. J did. We knew what Michael Jordan did. We knew what Kobe Bryant did. Today, I can't quite tell you that I know for a fact what position Anthony Davis plays, because Anthony Davis has introduced us to a term of a big man, 7'1", that tells you he does not like to play with his back to the basket. Imagine Kareem Abdul-Jabbar saying, I cannot play with my back to the basket. We would never have had the sky hook. So when you're talking about the NBA and when you're talking about what as Gully is telling us what sells, it's what sells that we're told, not the game. We don't care about what's happening on a basketball court. We don't care about the matchup. That's why you say you don't even watch it. I can't tell you the last time I watched the game, honestly.
Yeah, me either. But you know what's interesting? You bring up a good point about positions. And I was having this discussion with a couple of coworkers just to entertain myself, really, because I was bored. How can you do a top 5 point guard list or top 5 position list in an era of positionless basketball? Make it make sense. That's all I ask. Can we have some consistency? Why does the inconsistency have to be the consistency? That's one of my other questions. And then you mentioned too, Brother Rich, about the Lakers being the top dog. I don't know so much anymore. Do you think that still is the case, even though it's early? But the Nets look to be, on paper, they probably arguably the best trio ever assembled.
Well, I don't quite buy into the best trio ever assembled yet because they haven't done anything yet.
Okay, gotcha.
Now they're potentially a very potent team, offensively speaking, and when committed, they can all play defense as well. So we know that there's a potential there. Now we have to.
They got to go out and prove it.
That all comes. Absolutely.
Okay,
they got to go out and prove it, and we got to see how that all comes together.
Okay, I got you. So they haven't proven anything, even though the potential, another P word, is there.
Remember, the Clippers looked like the perfect squad last year. They looked to have the perfect assemblage of talent. They looked to have the perfect head coach. They certainly look to have the perfect owner, the perfect circumstance and situation. Those guys are coming home. Everything is lined up. They're ready to go. They're all supposedly at the peak of their careers. And when's the last time anyone has spoken of the Clippers recently?
Yeah, but you know what? They're kind of lightweight flying under the radar. Double J, I'm going to get to you in a second. One last thing I want to mention. Brother Rich, you pointed out how the game is being played today, and that seems to be an ongoing theme on this show. I mean, if you stop giving me fodder, then I'll stop talking about it. But how the game is played, again, why we call it the Today BA, and while I say the style of play is so crucial. There was a post, and I wished somehow, some way, Double J and Gully, they would know better than I how to share some of this stuff with you that I put out there. I have no clue. But anyway, that's why I'm glad they're on the team. But I posted a picture or video, of Presbyterian women. This is the women's game now. I watched this game, Presbyterian versus Campbell. It was 1.7 seconds left on the clock. This is the game now. I think Campbell was down 1. It was 61-60. Presbyterian was up 1. And I know you saw it, Double J. I don't know if you saw it, Gully. But the play that Campbell ran to win the game was Pete Carril would have been, he was smiling, somewhere smiling. And I posted, this is how you end a basketball game. So you can't tell me that it's not, that it's like doing it this way is somehow the wrong way. Then fast forward a couple of nights after the fact, people are jumping all over Trae Young because of how the Atlanta Hawks, or should I say Falcons in this case, are blowing leads left and right because Trae Young decides to try to end the game on a 3-point jump shot, even though we know that that's his ability. That was not the right shot to take in that case. I want you all to share that with Brother Rich Double J, and I just wanted to point that out because fundamentals still have a place in the game if you do it correctly. I'll hang my hat on that every day, all day. But to you, Double J, in this whole deal with comebacks, why does one team get all the credit for a comeback and the other team gets no mention as in having helped assist in the comeback of that one team?
Well, it really comes down to favorite, and not just from a personal.
You left out the ism. You left out the tism.
Bias.
You left out the tism. You said favoritism. Go ahead. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and again, with that, kind of being emphasized there, you look at a Warriors team that arguably a few years ago very much would have been on the receiving end of something like this. Obviously, of course, you incorporate the injuries to Klay Thompson this year. And so despite the fact that they very much earned it, that they exposed the weaknesses in the Lakers, which, again, are very, minute and limited, but they were capable of doing that, and they did that throughout really the second half of that fourth quarter. This was not something, when they say comeback, this was not a comeback of epic proportions by any means. What they did is they moved in transition and executed. You look at the Lakers, and they shot just atrocious in that fourth quarter specifically. And then defensively, no different than what I just pointed out, they jogged getting back. And then you had Anthony Davis really out of position and being forced to, not even take on the primary ball handler inside of the painted area. And at that point, you have them right where you want them. And despite all of that, the narrative that I can tell you that they really wanted to see, despite the great things that I just pointed out that the Warriors were capable of doing, they wanted to see that buzzer beater, and it just simply didn't fall.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, now I get it to some degree. But what bothers me still, and that's the second part of the whole question, when it comes to being a fan of your favorite team, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. But to make excuses for why your team lost, one thing you won't hear about me, whoever I pick, whether it be my Canes or whoever the case may be, whatever team I'm rolling with on that particular day, because when it comes to NFL, I don't have no more horses, okay, until they start giving us some of that money. As far as the Canes, I know a few guys personally, so I'm going to always have a connection. But I don't make excuses for my team, the ones I pick and the ones I roll with, when they lose. I don't make excuses. I ask again, at what point when it comes to fandom does reality get an invite? That's all I want to know. And once you send reality an invitation, then please come back and let's have this conversation. Because until then, I'm talking to fandom. Where's that getting me? It's not getting me nowhere. Which is why I keep telling my certain coworker, if you're out there listening, RB, I am not a fan of teams anymore. Them days are done and over with. I was with the kids the other day. Glad to have fun in South Carolina, by the way. And we were watching the Nets and, was it the Bucks? That game was so boring towards the end. It's hard to watch, man. It is really hard to watch. Everybody wants, again, we said this a million times on the show. We talk about how many threes people are taking. Everybody talks about the amount of makes. Can we ever have a conversation about the misses? Let's do that. Let's watch a game. Let's all in our respective households pick a game to watch, and let's just count the misses. 700 misses, but yet we want to clap and applaud for 30 made threes? Somebody do the percentages on that. And I'm being facetious or cynical, take your pick when I say 700 misses, but okay, 659 in one game, so to speak. Come on, man. You don't get credit for 30 makes, and you done took 1,000 and have 1,000 misses. Come on, man. Where's the Gully? When does the reality set in? Or is it Alice in Wonderland with sports now? Is that where we at right now? Because you're talking to a realist. You know this, right? Okay? I have to keep it all the way 400. When does the reality set in?
I told you, man. I told you who I believe is one of the three most influential people in American culture.
In American sports culture? American sports culture?
In American, you can say sports culture.
You mean Brother Rich?
American culture. I told you who it is.
Listen, Brother Rich get enough credit on this program, okay? We're not gonna keep throwing. This is not the running of the Bulls, okay? It might be the running of the Bulls, but it's not the running of the Bulls, okay? We're not throwing. This is not Ferdinand.
Might be running of the Bills after Sunday, but
whoa.
Yeah,
No, Brother Rich. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. See that, but you know what that was, Brother Rich. See, that's the Gully and Jay dynamic. See, Gully already picked up on it. He seen where I was going, and he took it somewhere else. But anyway, go ahead, Gully. Finish your thought. Was you cracking some heads, or you just making a statement?
No, I was just saying when we talk about it, we talk about the stories and all that. I told you, man. I think one of the three most influential people to American culture or first world culture in this century is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And I could draw it out now, but I say that for another time. But basically, the idea in short and sweet, the idea of a narrative and a story to be able to sell what we see in action, complemented so. I guess, effectively by Tim Donaghy and what he said about sports and that you just mentioned, Brother Rich. This is what we see when we see what we think or what used to be authenticity in our sports games. Now we got to resign that back to being narrative driven. And it's hard to make sense of what you see as being fully authentic versus it playing toward a story to sell you on watching what you see. But I'll leave that there.
Yeah, it's sure not organic nowadays. I'd like somebody to try to convince me that professional sports especially is organic nowadays. You can try that with me. I'm somebody else, but don't try that with me. You got what I'm saying? Brother Rich, please, would you, in your own words, eloquently tell us, yeah, when it comes to fandom, at what point does reality get an invite?
Well, once again, because I heard Gully say that I have to borrow from him and agree with him.
Stop stealing from Buffalo Bills fans. You don't like the Bills, remember?
No.
Stop stealing.
No.
Oh my gosh, it's a highway robbery in effect.
Credit is due. I have to do that.
What?
But here's the thing.
Hold it. No. You got to give credit where credit is due. I don't ever get credit from you.
I know that when Miami Hurricanes was imported, when they were doing cocaine, they were doing the best cocaine that they could get in Miami. I gave them brothers credit.
Okay,
them guys
got you.
was doing the best. They had the best, but they played some good football. I understand.
Because they was high? That's what you're trying to say?
This is not me saying this. This is
Okay.
not me saying this.
Okay.
This is some of their own players
Okay.
in their biographies
Okay.
admitted all of this. It
Oh,
was a party
my
time
gosh.
for them.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
but they were still beating people. They lived up to the billing. you know?
Okay,
So
can we? Some things should be
I
stricken from the
understand. I give
record.
them credit.
Yeah,
I
let's
give them
start strike
credit.
things. Some things should be stricken from the record.
So, but back to your question, sir. So I'm trying to respect the time. Your question was asking us, when does reality set in? It doesn't. That's what Gully's telling us about WWE and the wrestling, and because what are we looking at? We're looking at made-for-TV entertainment. You not remember now, and this is where.
So I'm expecting something of fans.
Thought because whereas, but here's the thing: who's responsible for fans? Are fans responsible for themselves, or is
Maybe not, because they sometimes burn jerseys.
Is it a created thing? When these owners spend $3 billion for these teams and $5 billion for these teams and all this money for these teams,
They create the illusion that goes along with it.
Remember now, remember basketball that you and I, they'll call us old for this, that you and I grew up watching, loving, and playing. That was, I say it again, that was a different game than what we're watching now. This is corporate basketball. They're not allowed to go too hard. You can't even take it that seriously no more. And that's why unlike you, I applaud LeBron because he understood, look, this is about money. This ain't about this is a game. This is about money. We do this for money. This is about money. Get your
Well, then
money.
he should shut up talking about
Take care of your business.
PTSD then. Stop it. He should shut
He
up
should be
talking
what?
about
He
he
should
should
what?
shut up talking about PTSD. When they talk about going back in the bubble. Oh, don't talk to me about that. That's hard. I'm having a PTSD moment. Man,
Well, I don't agree with that. But
Yeah,
I don't agree with him
no,
in
you don't get a
everything, but
pass
I
for
don't
that.
agree with him on that, but I
Yeah,
agree
no.
with him on his approach to how he has helped manage his career and help other young basketball players to manage their career and keep their money and not go broke. You have to applaud him for that part. If he's brought anything to the NBA, he's brought that. Now, the competitive nature and edge to the
Well,
NBA
bring some
was
substance.
going away long before that. Absolutely.
Yeah, bring some substance though.
It was going away.
What's
What?
wrong with substance? You said he brought all of those things. Well, no, I don't argue that he's brought all those things, guys getting paid and so on and so forth. But in exchange for guys getting the bag, substance went out the window.
Yeah, but he didn't do that, though. You can't
Oh,
put that on him.
please.
That's why I said
Oh, he was
we
complicit.
diverged. No,
He
Jay.
was complicit.
No.
We got a 211
Double
in
J,
progress.
It was in your town. It was in your town that the Malice at the Palace took place, where after that they suspended them brothers and told them, y'all taking this too seriously. We got money on this. This money riding on this. It's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You're not going to ruin this, you so-and-sos. You better get out of here.
Guess what?
That's when they made
It's-
Allen Iverson dress up. It wasn't.
It
come on
survived
now.
after
They
Artis
took away
Gilmore
the
hit
street
Rudy
game.
Tomjanovich.
No, Jay. No,
Yeah,
Jay.
it did.
No. You gotta. How are you not gonna factor in the fact that the corporations who fund the NBA wasn't the
Well,
NBA
of course,
just
of
the
course
same
I'm-
league that couldn't even.
Yeah, I'm not on the
Excuse me?
side of the corporations by no means. I'm saying I'm talking about league survival. I mean, Rudy Tomjanovich got knocked out in the middle of the floor. It was a nice little left hand, by the way.
Yeah, but that's when they was playing
Right hand.
basketball.
Oh,
That's when
okay.
they
Yeah,
was
got
taking
you.
it seriously. It was playing basketball.
Got you. Oh, and shout out to my
They
man
wasn't
Double.
making money then. It wasn't about money then.
Yeah, well, please. Yeah, well, that's true too. But shout out to my man up on the north side of Michigan, Ben Wallace, definitely Hall of Famer. Ron Artest, if you're out there listening, knock, knock. You didn't want none of that. You know what I mean? Artest went after everybody in the stands, but he ain't go after Big Ben Wallace. Ben put them hands around their throat and said, yeah, you're a tough guy when you want to be. Come see me. I'm saying, boy, Ben went to try and see. Man, don't get me started. Double J, when it comes to the fandom, and I'm talking about from fans' perspective, not the corporation's perspective, so to speak, from the fans, man. This is, again, why I'm not on Facebook as much as I used to be. Because it's at what point, if you are partaking in something, do you realize, if you value your intellect, okay, that you're not gaining anything from being a part of this conversation or this delegation or this situation? At what point does it become you say, you know what, no. It's because it's about time, right? Especially at my age. Wasting time, it doesn't bode well, okay? All right, I'm at the point now, I go to the grocery store for milk and cookies, I come out with a box of Depends. Don't ask me why, don't ask me how, I just know they end up in my cart. Okay, that's all I'm trying. I don't have time to waste. So when it comes to fandom, Double J, please, in your own words, tell us at what point does reality get an invite? And again, I'm speaking to the fans who discuss these events as it's like pom-poms, prisoners of the moment. Help me out, would you?
Well, let's think about this. You know, putting the corporation aside, the corporation in certain markets is very visible very early.
Are you asking me to think?
Up north.
Are you asking me to think? Are you really asking me to do
it's on
that?
Full display.
Yeah, no, my thought process is not on full display. Come on, man. You know I can't think no farther from here to the front door. But go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you saying? Jeez.
So again, you know, fandom is you know, really a big on belief and hope. Especially when you get into this far in the playoffs, you really are hopeful that the last thing that could possibly take place is what you've seen in years past from Calvin Johnson with the catch rule, Des Bryant, the catch rule. What is the catch at this point? When you hear the commissioner of the league say that, you hear analysts say that there's technically holding on every single play. You do begin to suspect that there could be more things at stake greater than that fandom.
Oh, okay.
The only time that I would argue that fandom can positively influence a game beyond just crowd level and noise is with specific markets.
Oh, yeah, but they're not really. Are they letting people? Well, I saw a few people like you talking about fan attendance.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's still at the end of the day, you know, I hear some of the stuff that come out people's mouths about these games or whatever, and I'm asking them, you know, like I asked the guy, unfortunately, whose breath was really kicking one day, man, do you eat your own stuff? My gosh, you know, you're past the point of a breath mint because it makes no sense. Do you hear the stuff that you're saying sometime? Man, this guy was the best guy since the last guy, since the first guy who learned how to tie his shoe while he's eating a banana split. He the GOAT. Okay, I got you. Moving right along. All right, I'm not going to sit there and insult my own intelligence by entertaining this nonsense. It's outlandish. You get what I'm trying to tell you? It's really outlandish. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number to call is area code 687-0026. And as always, the Shop Report is now being powered by none other than the fine folks at Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. All right, fellas, up next we have our, as you all like to know, Take Your Pick segment. Right? And as we mentioned earlier, when it comes to sports debates, one of the most common ones is when NFL wide receivers and who has the best hands. And I'm not going to go through all the list of names that people have mentioned since I can recall this debate taking place. But our two for today, and our Take Your Pick, is Larry Fitzgerald or Chris Carter. Now, what I'll do is I'll ask each one of my panelists here who they would pick, and then I'll go into some of the attributes and accolades of each guy and see if that somewhat settles the debate on who is better than whom or who you would pick. Brother Rich, who would you take? Larry Fitzgerald or Chris Carter?
Chris Carter, only because the circumstances, the time he played, how he played, what he represented, and his consistency. Chris Carter.
Yeah. I mean, Fitz is right there, too, though. But I'm with you on that, Brother Rich. Double J, who would you take? Chris Carter or Larry Fitz? Excuse me.
I'm probably going to be in the minority here, but I'm actually going to go Larry Fitzgerald. The reason being is despite the fact that these two are, again, of course, very comparable, Larry Fitzgerald and again, this is one of those things that longevity in terms of career lifespan can actually work against you when it comes to things like yards per game and receptions per game, as an example, because naturally when you get older, usually you're less of an emphasis within the offense. And despite that, when it comes to not only general statistics between the two, most importantly, playoff, when you're really relied on the most. And with that being said, he actually outproduces Chris Carter overwhelmingly, with the exception of simply getting, I believe it was just the receptions per game in the playoffs that Chris Carter had him edged out by less than one.
Yeah, but you know what? To add to Brother Richard's point about Chris Carter, and make no mistake, I would take Larry Fitzgerald in a heartbeat. See, when we talk about these guys, we of course are talking about them currently while they're in the NFL or their NFL careers. But fortunately, I saw these guys at a time when, like I said, I had more hair follicles than I do now, and my mind was a little bit sharper. I follow these guys all the way back to college. That's where it started for me. In some cases, high school, but more so college. And I watched Fitz at Pitt, and I watched Chris Carter at Ohio State. Now, let me please make note, as I always have to mention here, I detest Ohio State football. Absolutely. And no, it ain't got nothing to do with they beat the Canes and so on. It was before they played the Canes. I detest them. But
yeah, but Jay, think about that. You mentioned where he went, and they're no slouch annually.
Who you talking
Larry
about?
Fitzgerald at Pitt did wonders.
Yeah, no. I was just mentioning that. You know what I mean? That like I said, most people will go so far as back as talk about their NFL careers. A lot of people don't even go back into their college careers. I was just pointing that out, where they went to school at, whatnot. But the thing to me that gives Chris Carter, and just again in my opinion, and I think this is where Brother Rich was going, the thing that gives Chris Carter the slight edge, they do a stat for everything now. And it's just this next-gen stuff. It's some stuff, just let it be, okay? He's the first guy, like I said, since yesterday, to have, 2 touchdowns and 3 receptions in a quarter. I mean, do we really need to know all of that? I mean, is it that serious? No, it's not. But anyway, if they did a stat for guy who had the most tiptoe sideline catches, Chris Carter would be it hands down. Go back and watch some of his best catches came, and his quarterbacks were not. Who was his quarterback? Who was his quarterback, Gully, when he was at Ohio State? Do you remember? Because I don't.
No, this was before Joe Germain.
Yeah, way before Joe Germain.
This was.
I just know whoever.
Wait a minute. Oh man.
Whoever. I know he saved a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks. You want to talk about a guy who maybe got a NFL job at quarterback for them? It was him. That guy, man, Chris Carter made some of the most unbelievable catches going out of bounds that I've ever seen. And I'm not comparing this guy to him or whatever. I'm just saying I've that kind
Mike Tomczak.
Oh wow, Mike
Tomczak.
Oh yeah, he definitely got Mike Tomczak a job in Chicago. Definitely. Mike Tomczak was with the Bears, if nothing else. I don't know if the Bears drafted him, but Mike Tomczak was in the NFL, and I do know he played for the Bears. Matter of fact, he should have been giving Chris Carter a third of his game check. Man, Chris Carter made and I've seen Fitz make some catches, no doubt about it. But I'm talking about that to the boundary, them kind of catches that keep drives going, that keep fans' hopes alive, that can win you a game late, that kind of stuff. Chris Carter was mad. Look, Jerry Rice was the GOAT. I get it. He amassed 455,000 yards, 972 touchdowns, and all that other good stuff. But you want to talk about a guy. To me, when you make them kind of catches, when you drag that right foot and that left foot and you fall out of bounds like Manningham did with Eli Manning in that Super Bowl, those catches don't get enough credit, if you ask me. or did not discuss in the same breath as all of some of the catches that you'd be like, okay, yeah, it was nice, but it wasn't that one. Man, Chris Carter was a master, and I'm talking about making catches, and his route running was superb. Well, so is Fitzgerald's, but Chris Carter's route running was unbelievable, unbelievable. I hated Ohio State, but I would tune in to watch him. I'm not lying. I really, I don't do what ifs often because I don't like speculation, hyperbole, and all that good stuff. But I really, really would have liked to have seen that Philly game when they played the Bears in Soldier Field, but it was the Fog Bowl. You remember that, Brother Rich? You remember that, Gully?
Absolutely not. No, sir.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. You was into the soccer real big back then. But, yeah, that was a huge game. That's when the Eagles had Reggie White and Seth Joyner and Eric Allen and all them guys on defense. That defense was so nice. And actually, they had Golick, too. I think Mike Golick was on that team, too, nose tackle. And who else? Who was the quarterback? Oh, my gosh, my boy. I think it was Randall. Randall Cunningham, I think, was on that team then. Yeah, Randall Cunningham. Man, that Eagles team was nice. But that fog was so thick. Them guys talked about it after the game. I think the score was like, 9-0 or something like that, or 9-3. It was a crazy score the Bears won by. But I would love to have seen that game with no fog because Chris Carter, man, he was making catches in that game, and he couldn't see. Anyway, I digress. But, yeah, I love Fitz. I do. Chris Carter, man, them sideline catches, that's what give him the edge to me. But, Gully, who you got, Fitzgerald or Chris Carter?
I'm going with Chris Carter. And this question is, I can say it convincingly because you guys illustrated why. And it's not to say that Larry Fitzgerald isn't one of the best receivers. I think he's going to be probably one of the most underrated historically receivers in the game's history. I think when it's all said and done for Larry Fitzgerald. To talk him up a bit, you think about a consummate professional, name a game, name a temper tantrum, name a sideline antic, name an injury or story, name something that Larry Fitzgerald was a part of that negatively affected his team. And I can't think of a single moment. Go back to the Super Bowl performance that came down to a game-winning drive by Pittsburgh, to their credit. What Larry Fitzgerald did to keep the Cardinals on the verge of winning the Super Bowl, something that even Chris Carter never, unfortunately, got to experience for himself in his career. I say Chris Carter because outside of Jerry Rice, in my eyes, I haven't seen as complete a receiver who had route running, who had speed, and who had clutch play. I've never seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You talked about his moments with the Eagles. Now I was just a little bit too young for that, but him as a Viking, oh my goodness!
Wow, really?
It's
you was a little bit too young.
Tragedy in football.
Really, I like how you slid that. I like how you slid that little Brother Rich double J-ism in there. Well, I was a little bit too young when he was at the Eagles. Was that a shot at me? How old I am? Okay, nice. You think I caught that?
I mean, you remember that. I'm just saying your memories are in black and white, bro. Like so.
Oh, wow, Brother Rich, you should be proud of him. Are you proud of him?
I'm just saying.
Brother Rich. Oh, wow, really?
That's why I'm smiling. I don't know how I
I'm
get
just saying.
Oh, wow. No, what you mean you don't know how you get into this?
Playbooks together.
Man, please, that's something you would say.
To do with me, okay?
Man, please, that's something Brother Rich would say.
I'm sorry.
Man, please, that's something Brother Rich would say, please.
I mean, but
and he got his ARP before I got mine. ARP
to
card before I got mine. Y'all need to quit. Stop it. Double J, you want to pipe in there too? Come on, get it in while you can. You only got 6 minutes left. Get it in. Okay, that's right. Double J.
Well,
he's
I'm
going to
sure
say
this
something.
It's all a big change for you because you were still listening to the radio and hearing yesterday's highlight.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Right.
Double J.
Exactly.
So you're going to put a little, okay, so you're going to put a little whipped cream on the top. Okay, I didn't know he was eating banana splits. I don't do ice cream. I'm lactose intoleration. Anywho, yeah, Gully, I like that little snide remark you made. You know what I'm saying? You've been hanging around Brother Richard too long. But it's cool. I got something for all of that. We got a 211 in progress. You know what I'm saying? One Adam 12. Yeah, so you picking Chris Carter. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I'm picking Chris Carter because of all of those. I remember Chris Carter probably because he's been in the booth. The only help further illustrate just what I seen on the field. You know, Chris Carter was the one I remember him doing commentary. You know, back when he still had his thing, was prominent on ESPN.
Yeah.
He talked about like certain tricks of the trade that I remember seeing Chris Carter do it, not really understanding in my eyes what I saw about going limp on the sidelines. When you talk about the tiptoes, talking about, the textbook of you taking a sideline pass, you can catch the ball out of bounds, but you just drop your feet so that way you land in bounds. Things like that, I remember him when I heard him say it, I remember seeing it. I just don't know if it has outside of Jerry Rice. If Jerry Rice was not Jerry Rice, Chris Carter would be would be probably more heralded as one of the greatest receivers of all time. He was just that complete, and he was always ready. And no matter what kind of adversity he was in, personal demons or what have you, he was always ready for the game. You know what I mean? And that's why I picked Chris Carter over Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I just thought it was a pretty good take you picked this week because I like both of them, but I will give Chris the slight edge because of what I mentioned and what you mentioned, of course. And then speaking of which, I wasn't going to really dive into his personal history.
Okay, can I chime in just quickly with the score update? Purdue went into the home of D. Gully and stole a victory with to take the lead with 2.4 seconds left after a late foul. They walk away with 67-65.
Over Ohio State?
The
Value City Arena?
No. Don't even let him finish that. No, Barbershop. That's not what he meant. Because I looked at the schedule. Hold on 1 minute.
Yeah.
That's not what he meant.
Yeah, it had to be what he meant. But okay, while you all go back and forth, fighting over whose socks is what belong to whom, let me just give you a few interesting tidbits on Chris Carter, both Chris Carter and Larry Fitzgerald, and some of their career highlights and awards. And you see why they both are worthy of being best hands, if you would. Gully, you mentioned right quick Chris Carter's off the field stuff, and I wasn't going to mention that because I don't really like diving into, the negative portion of a guy's history or whatnot. But he was battling his demons, and if anybody out there listening want to know what those demons were, you can go look it up for yourself. But I say a tip of the cap to him as well, because while he was going through all of that, here are some of the things he managed to accomplish. But before I even go over his career highlights and awards, I want to mention he was picked fourth in the supplemental draft of 1987, in the fourth round of the 1987 supplemental draft. That's very interesting. My man Bernie Kosar was picked in the supplemental draft too. Maybe that's where the Browns should start picking guys from the supplemental draft, if they still do that. But anyway, some of Chris's career highlights and awards. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time first-team All-Pro. He was a second-team All-Pro, a Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. He was the NFL receptions leader in 1994. He was a 3-time NFL receiving touchdown leader, NFL 1990s All-Decade Team, and, of course, the Minnesota Vikings retired his number. He's in the Minnesota Vikings Ring of Honor. He was a consensus All-American in 1986, and he won the Bart Starr Award in 1995. I didn't mention a couple of years on his other stuff because it's just no need to. It was amazing. And here's some of the statistics in terms of his receptions. He had over 1,100 career receptions, 13,899 receiving yards. He averaged, or yards per reception, 12.6, and receiving touchdowns, 130. Is that impressive to you, Double J, or no?
Well, don't get me wrong here. When I picked the option B here.
No. It's not a bad pick. I was just coming to you. I was going to come to you anyway. I'm just curious. Do you think that's pretty good acumen?
So, with him, and I almost want to ask you guys this. I almost want to kind of redirect this in a way. Did Randy Moss impede on Chris Carter's full potential?
No.
So again, now here's why. Because again, some
of Chris Carter's best years,
the harsh reality of the analytics-driven world that we're in, and even myself referencing certain things within the playoffs. If especially for this younger generation, these Gen Zers who didn't even get to see the guy play at all.
Yeah.
And really, they missed out because I'll be completely honest, you're not going to find in the future Jerry Rice's, Chris Carter's, Randy Moss's. You're going to find a light version of that moving forward.
I don't know.
care.
That doggone guy from
and
Alabama.
Athletic,
That guy from Alabama
And
is
ask-
different. That doggone Devontae Smith is unbelievable. Well, I'm not saying he will be a Fitzgerald or a Carter or nothing, but I don't. The future looks bright for the NFL in terms of wide receivers. That guy's something else, man. Or did Ohio State's defense was it just that terrible? I don't know. That's another question for another day. I'm just saying that Devontae Smith, what's his name? I don't know. Number 6, I think. They better be glad he went out with a broken finger because he was going to put up 12 touchdowns in that game. He was going to break all kind of NCAA, AA, 2A, 3A, single one, Division I ball records. That guy. But I'm with you, Double J. And here's some of the career highlights and awards for my man Larry Fitzgerald as well. An 11-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 2-time NFL receptions leader, 2-time NFL receiving touchdowns leader, NFL 100th anniversary all-time team. I didn't even know this. He won the Art Rooney Award, won also the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year, NFL 2010's All-Decade Team, Heisman Trophy runner-up, Biletnikoff Award, that's special, Walter Camp Award, Big East Offensive Player of the Year, unanimous All-American, first-team All-Big East, and, of course, the Panthers retired his number. I think his number is the only one number retired with the Panthers. But his receptions, 1,432. Receiving yards, 17,492. He averaged 12.2 yards per reception, and his receiving touchdowns were 121. So, they right there in the ballpark. This is why I thought this was a pretty good take your pick for today. So, yeah, there you have it. Chris Carter, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one, right? No, I don't think you can. If you're up and around, you're out and about, you want to give us a shout, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. And as always, the Shop Report is now being powered by Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. All right, fellas, let's dive into some of this divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Let's recap and go around the board, and then we'll give our thoughts going forward before we get out of here about who we think will win in the NFC and the AFC championships, respectively. Brother Rich, we'll come to you because I know that you've been a Browns fan, ever since you started counting the hairs on the dog, 10 toes down in the sand, jet flighting, you know what I'm saying, back from Cairo, you know what I'm saying, to Chicago, you know what I'm saying? The man just don't sit still, you know what I'm trying to say? You know what I mean? I wish I could get one of them frequent flyer mile cards you got there, brother. You know what I'm saying? But ever since you got your AARP card, you've been acting real stingy right now. But it's all good.
I wish, my friend, I wish.
Oh,
I
please,
wish.
stop it.
Nevertheless.
Okay.
You about to ask me about my brownies?
No. We're going to talk about the Browns, but we're going to get your thoughts first on that Rams and Packers. And, of course, I got a question for each team that played in that game. We all saw the Rams at the Packers, and we seen what Aaron Rodgers did and so on and so forth. But the question is in regards to the Rams, now obviously that their season is over, was Goff's thumb a factor in that game, Brother Rich?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too.
And,
Go ahead.
The talk out here is that they're going to move on. They're going to try to move on from it. Yeah, but absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. The injuries are what they need. The gossip out here, the talk out here is the injuries.
Yeah,
was the reason that they didn't go as far as they should have.
Yeah, I know. My goodness, I don't know. I don't know what else to really say about injuries and the dismissiveness of them. Not saying you are doing that, Brother Rich, but those who would, when it comes to NFL, when it comes to football players, period, but when it comes to NFL players especially, I've heard the line. We've all heard the line. The best ability is your availability, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, win one for the Gipper, Red Grange, and all them other guys. Otis Thorpe, not Otis Thorpe. What's the guy's Thorpe name? Jim Thorpe, excuse me. I'm being cynical here. Listen. And I've had major injuries. Okay? Never played in NFL, NBA, none of that. Did play intramural in college. So I get. But the level, at that level, I'm amazed to hear. And I'm not a Goff fan. I'm not fond of him at all as a quarterback. But I tip my hat to a guy who had surgery on his thumb on Monday and was playing an NFC Championship game Monday night. Now, of course, we wasn't on a Monday. You all get what I'm driving at here. You know what I mean? And then to perform, to even get them to having even won a playoff game over the Seahawks. The Seahawks didn't play well. They did their part, unfortunately. But that's why I think I put a post up on Facebook and I said Goff's 9 completions in that game against the Seahawks were crucial. The guy broke his doggone thumb and had to have surgery on it. It wasn't even healed yet, and he's out there throwing a football. Okay? Have you ever broke a bone? Have you ever dislocated a finger? Have you ever had any type of physical something that wasn't what it was after you did it, what the original was, okay? And then you have to go out in the cold? Have you ever just jammed a finger and you go out in the cold? That seems like the cold goes right directly to that spot. And then you're playing football with guys smashing you with. And think about this now. Your fingers are cold, and a guy tackles you, and his helmet is cold. The face mask is cold. There's no fans. It's just cold. It's just cold. Okay, so I'm not bashing Goff for his performance in that game, which wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. But I'm giving him a pass because of that thumb. Double J, what about you? Net Rams.
What about the Ryder Water? He just got charged.
Really? Hey, who's that in the background, Double J? Tell him we said hey. Are you there? Hello? Knock, knock. Oh, maybe he's gone. All right. Gully, what about you? Do you think Goff's thumb played a factor in that Rams loss to the Packers?
No, not at all. Though it is tremendous in him being able to compete, and the fact is that the Rams did still they were still competitive for as much as they were competitive. But no, that was all about the Packers, winning. Packers, they didn't have issues with their quarterback, of course, and they took care of business. I don't know that Goff being fully healthy would have made too much of a difference, because defensively, what the Rams couldn't do, what they were able to do versus Seattle, they couldn't get done versus Green Bay. So,
gotcha.
I'm not certain that Goff being healthy or unhealthy would have made much of a difference, because they were still out on the field way too long, no matter who was the quarterback or no matter how healthy Goff was. But that's a tremendous effort. That's great to his credit. I think it shows signs that he's really not as bad as I think he's often written about. But nonetheless, fact remains, it was about the Packers.
Yeah. And speaking of the Packers,
What?
what? Oh, is that you, Double J? Are you back with us? We heard you. You were having some going ons in the background. You okay over there?
Yeah, that was. I accidentally muted myself.
Oh, okay, got you. All right, well, make sure you tell everybody over there we said hello from the shop reporting 786 Media. We appreciate them joining us as well. So we'll come to you. Was Goff's thumb a factor in the Rams' outcome against the Packers?
Look.
Oh, wow. He's getting ready. He got his smoker jacket on. Now he's getting ready to get real serious.
The deficiencies were exposed. Again, these were things that weren't new. So looking at from the NFC side here with Tampa, we talked about it even earlier with fandom. needless to say, no different than my intro earlier, that I already know who I'm putting my money on with these two games because it's driven, it's ratings driven. This is going to be an old, the old versus the new. I also want to point this out too. What we're seeing very well may be the official turning of the tide. When we talk about the Today VA, we talk about the NFL, we're always talking about kind of the old versus the new. And if you recall, for decades, it was, the mobile quarterback wasn't, was too deficient as a passer and relied on their legs. The Michael Vick saying, and countless others, that was really unjust. The question I actually have for you guys to just kind of think about here is, are the traditional drop-back passers going extinct? And is this officially now very much like the evolution of the tight end, the slow and painful death of the fullback? Are we experiencing an extinction event of the old way of the NFL?
Yes, but let me say this. I'm glad you threw that out there because it sounds like you're putting a little twist on it.
I'm going to say no, but I'm going to wait for you, Barbara. So I'm going to say absolutely not, but I'm going to wait for you.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're putting a little twist on that. But let me twist it the other way. Yes, we're getting to the point where, that little robotic thing that Fox has on their pregame show, coming back from a commercial. Yeah, we're getting to the point where those guys are going to be on the NFL field sooner rather than later. I'm joking here, right? But that's where it's going. I get it. It's futuristic. But there's I'm going to always refer back to Moneyball. You cannot, no matter how much lipstick you put on a pig, you cannot get away from the game's inception or what the game was based on in terms of its nature, what is its authenticity or its fundamentals. You can't get away from that. And as long as the NFL is being played by human beings, and as long as there's an NFL playoffs, you can get away from the traditional drop-back passer in the regular season. No offense to Lamar, because we'll discuss him next. You cannot. But the playoffs says that whether you don't have to be a prolific passer, but you got to be a polished one. You're still going to have, just like the NBA playoffs. The NBA playoffs says, we see that you won 77 games in the regular season. Yay, clap, clap. But when you come see us, we're cutting all of that crap out. Okay? The playoffs is still, especially in NFL, such that you have to go back. You have to have some element of the basics. I've asked this on countless weeks that we've discussed the NFL on this program. Of course, when we're talking about the Browns and the Ravens and so on and so forth. I like Lamar Jackson. He's dynamic. But it's no way in the world that you don't spy him. Whether you have the pieces to do it or not, you have to at least try. It's no way in the world you let a guy like that or the Ravens run up 465,000 yards against you in one game. You just don't do it. You make him beat you with his arm. When you can turn the field over, excuse me, and have him 1st and 10 from their own 10 and have to go 90 yards or 95 yards to score, and you load 50 in the box, yeah, buddy, you're going to have to beat me with that arm. Let me see you do that not just once, but consistent enough, then I'll say, okay, yes, now you're talking about a complete evolution of the quarterback. Because to Brother Richard's point and your point as well, does Mahomes fit in that category? To me, no. Mahomes is in a category all by himself. Excuse me, so.
Finally.
Yeah. What do you mean, finally? I've been saying that. What?
Finally.
Finally. What is this?
Oh, man. See, this is what I'm talking about right here.
Finally, he's not a plug-and-play quarterback anymore. Finally.
I never said he was a...
Oh, there we go. There we go. Here we go. Round 3.
You know what? No, I'm not going to...
Finally. I'm just saying finally. Finally, he's not a plug-and-play. He's not a guy that you just bring this one here, move that piece there. Finally.
No, first of all, that was
Gully,
the
don't
charge
fall for
laid
that.
when
That's
we talked about no.
Gully. That's called clickbait. That's called clickbait. We don't like my man Chadwick Boseman will say. We don't do that here. All right, I'm not falling for that again. But anyway, Mahomes is in the class by himself. I never said plug and play, no none of that. But as you can see, so is Deshaun Watson, an elite talent. That's what that question was all about. But anyway, moving right along. Yeah, I don't think that the traditional guy might be going by the wayside in the regular season, but in the playoffs, you better have somebody that can read defenses and know how to, throw a guy open, make them kind of what we just talked about with Chris Carter and Larry Fitzgerald, make them sideline toe tapping catches. You know what I mean? Here, listen, and I'll give you one example, and this is not to say he is better than that guy or this guy, because everybody likes to turn it into that. That throw that Eli Manning made, I forget what Super Bowl it was, to Manningham, that's what the NFL playoffs will call on you to do. You're going to have to be able to make that kind of throw. Go back and look at that throw from as many angles as you possibly can. And I promise you, anybody that watched the game, whether they talking heads or the guys at the water cooler, cannot deny. You could insert any quarterback in that position that we've seen make some of the greats that have made. You have to be able to make those kinds of throws in the playoffs. You got to be able to do it all season long, but especially in the playoffs. Because in the regular season, even though it's only 16 games, we all know you got another game the following week. In the playoffs, you're one and done. All that running is fine. And please, Michael Vick, he too was totally in a class by himself. Don't get it twisted. I've never seen nothing like Mike Vick. With all due respect to Lamar, he is no Mike Vick. Okay? But in the playoffs, you have to be able to make those kinds of throws, that Eli to Manningham. Not that Eli to Brashay Caldwell, whoever it was, who caught that pass on the side of his helmet. Those are the ones you can say were
David Tyree.
Okay, was it David Tyree? Yeah, David Tyree in the shot knots, the shy lights. I don't know, whatever the case may be. But Rodney Harrison was all over that, and David Tyree just knew in his mind that he was going to Disneyland after that catch, so he held on tight. That's one of them. That's a Hail Mary in and of itself. Eli broke what? He got away from what? 12 Patriot defenders. Okay, he got out of the grasp. Okay, and then come on now, yeah, hurled one down the middle of the field, all fingers crossed. Yeah, that was that kind of throw. But that one to Manningham, that was about as professional as you get. And when the playoffs is watching, when they see you make that kind of throw, they look at their paper and they give a check mark. Okay, you check the box off right there. Because that was one hell of a throw. Yes, you have to be able to make them kind of throws in the playoffs. You're not going to just run wild in the playoffs. And shout out to my man Mark Ingram, who, by the way, got released by the Baltimore Ravens. But, yeah, I'm with you, Double J. I see where it's going. Of course, it's going there. Everybody talking about this Breeze and Brady's last go run and so on and so forth. Yeah, we get it. But speaking of the Packers, though, as we move on here, Brother Rich, do you think Rodgers is destined?
Wait a minute, hold on. Before you do
that.
I'm
sorry. Yeah, you did.
Sorry,
you had some. No, you had something you wanted to say. My bad,
this.
Gully. My bad. Go ahead.
Except for the mobile quarterback. Yeah, and I think it seemed like you kind of maybe went back to it, but I hardly think the mobile quarterback, or I'm sorry, the immobile quarterback, the pocket passer, is gone, because I think both of you just illustrated that when it comes to playoff time, your ability to throw the ball up the field and not to be able to run, especially if you got, world class, if you will, championship caliber defenses defending you, your ability to be in that pocket, be under that pressure in that type of clutch moment is paramount. I look at guys that, we didn't mention Russell Wilson. And the best and worst of Russell Wilson was...
Whoa, say that again fast 3 times.
Pocket,
say that again fast 3 times. Russell Wilson. Brother Rich, I'm surprised you didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Brother Rich, you didn't catch that? Hold it, Gully. Hold on.
What he did inside of the pocket.
Yeah, hold on, Gully. Hold on, Gully.
Talk about him going in the Super Bowl.
Gully, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Brother Rich, you okay over there?
Oh, I'm listening.
I'm just saying, because usually when
I I was waiting for him to tell us that Josh Allen is the future. I'm just waiting for him to get there.
Oh,
Well,
man.
oh, yeah,
Oh,
keep waiting, 'cause I ain't
man.
about to say
See?
nothing about that.
Oh,
Right?
man.
Listen, keep waiting because I ain't saying nothing about that. I ain't missing Josh out.
Go ahead.
All right,
Go
but
ahead.
I'm saying that pocket passers aren't going anywhere. What we do have though are guys like Aaron Rodgers who are still athletic enough to still be able to escape, unlike the pocket passers from before. But what you guys did not mention.
What you mean, unlike the pocket passes from before?
The quiet evolution.
What do you mean?
Guys like Brian Westbrook was for the Eagles.
No. What do you mean, like unlike the passes of
or-
before? What do you mean, unlike the passes
Say
of
again?
before? What do you mean? Do you think the Russell Wilsons and Aaron Rodgers, they're being able to use their legs to escape and keep the play alive? You don't think it was guys like that in the NFL before?
I'm saying
Roger
that
Staubach,
I'm saying pocket passes
Ken
are going
Stabler,
nowhere. But the more
Jim
refined,
Plunkett.
But the more refined pocket passers are going to be guys who are still athletic enough to still get out there and make plays with their legs when they have to.
Okay.
They're going to be pass first. They're going to be able to stay in that pocket. They're going to be able to withstand that pressure. But they're going to be athletic enough to escape from those DNs and escape from the collapsing pockets. Pocket passers aren't going anywhere. I mean, think about let's look at the NFC Championship. That dude's 42. He ain't ran. That dude's 42. It took him 10 minutes to run a 40. All right.
It took him 10 minutes to run a 40 when he was at Michigan.
Say again?
It took him 10 minutes to run a 40 when he was at Michigan.
Well, okay, so now it takes him 20.
Okay.
All right. Now he's the definitive pocket passer.
Okay.
By rules.
But you still have to have
down,
pocket mobility.
You know, the tuck rule and the like. He's the definitive pocket passer.
Okay, so you're saying that this
and
new era.
In his 14th conference championship game, knocking on the door of another Super Bowl, pocket passers aren't going anywhere. However, the more it's becoming increasingly more and more important that your halfbacks, not even your fullbacks, your halfbacks have hands in an open field. They can actually become outlet receivers. I'm not talking about delayed screen passes, but the ability maybe to break off a route and run up the field. Those guys, that's the quiet evolution. That's what I mentioned.
I don't even see why that's an evolution. I don't see why that's an evolution though, because
the Brian Westbrook are really what you're going to see are more important. Are going to be the evolution of the passing game. Pocket passes aren't going anywhere.
I don't see how you're a running back at any level and not be able to catch the ball out the backfield.
Let me ask this though, because even to Gully's point, in making his point, he mentioned athleticism within that position. Which almost implies kind of our point, taking the other approach about mobility. Now, unless there's been, this is purely a result of GMOs in food, which is another story for another day.
Oh, it is. It is.
What changed? Because we often, especially on this program, emphasize coaching versus players' will, if you will.
No, but it's a talent. It's not a coaching. No, none of that. There's no outside factors in here. That's a talent thing. You look at the position, but again, I mentioned guys like Fran Tarkenton, Roger Staubach. Those guys were scramblers and were adept passers. But the NFL has always had its mix of that, but it's more pronounced now than it was then. But they had those kind of guys. Kenny the Snake Stabler for the Raiders. My gosh, go look at some of his feats of escapability and things of that nature. But it's becoming more. If you had 5 guys back then, now you got 15. And I'm just picking it. I'm just saying that that's more so that now. But you can. The pocket passer's not gone. But now you see more pocket passers having to have more pocket mobility because you got guys like Aaron Donald lined up over the center. Okay, I mean, my gosh, Aaron Donald.
But even with that philosophy, even with even stating and emphasizing that point, you talked about making throws, and Gully brought up Tom Brady. Now with Rodgers. He's a very different scrambler in itself because they move the pocket. He'll roll right and complete 66% of the passes. That's something that's on display at the combine. It's a combine drill. Now, if he rolls left, he's under 30%, and it's, again, not even nearly the results, and that's been proven for, really over a decade at this point, which is a little bit of a surprise why defenses don't just overload that side. But another story for another day. Maybe that happens this weekend. Sorry, RB. And but you talk about making throws. You got a guy in a wheelchair in Tom Brady that is very different than anything we're just discussing. This is not the reason why I'm saying it's not an athleticism thing. It's not a talent thing, which is your point, is because all of those guys we talked about before, from Warren Moon being able to just sling it, Steve McNair, Michael Vick, David Garrard, Byron Leftwich.
Did you mention David Garrard?
So many others.
Did you seriously mention David Garrard? Absolutely
but again,
not.
There's a reason for this.
Oh,
and
please.
He would move to. It wasn't all MJD. I'm not going to take that for a second. Which, speaking of Gully's other point,
oh my gosh,
Brian Westbrook.
Did you say David Garrard? Lord have mercy. Go ahead. You said David Garrard and Byron Leftwich.
If we're going to acknowledge and just purely say, if we're going to live off of this outcome that it is purely talent, and for some reason the talent sprouted out of the ground, nobody knows who planted the seed, nobody knows who watered it, but we all know where the sunlight came from. I'm just not buying that same talent that was on display for decades in the past was not capable, to your point, of quote-unquote making that throw. Something changed. And again, was this something like, dare I say, and again, this is my own personal belief on this, so this is my own take. For whatever reason, the league itself bought in to that. And the reason they bought into it was because of the lack of defense due to the rules. And what it did is it brought the league itself closer to the original foundation of its creation before the forward pass was evolved and put in via a president, that being Teddy Roosevelt. You can thank him for that.
Nope, correction.
Otherwise,
Nope. I got a book over here. You don't want me to read the title to this book I got over here. It was one guy responsible for the NFL and all of its attributes. One guy, believe it or not. It wasn't Paul Brown. One guy.
No.
One guy. I'm telling you, I got the book. I'm sitting here looking at the book right now. One guy, George Halas. As a matter of fact.
Oh, come on. I'll give Mr. Halas and T formation all the credit in the world for all the things he did, from moving from the formation of the league, having that meeting in Canton, Ohio, of course, at that car dealership, all the way to having the
But that was before.
Presence of mind.
I'm talking about before then.
From Decatur to Chicago.
I'm talking about before then.
Here's the reality. You had a crisis on hand within not just the NFL, but college football as well, where they were pulling the program. At the time, your Ivy League schools were powerhouses, and you had folks like Harvard and Duke that were getting rid of the game of football. And it took, there were 19 deaths, I believe, that particular season when it took Teddy Roosevelt. Now, there may have been some collaboration there, but it was Teddy Roosevelt and someone. Now, was that someone George Halas? That I can't say for sure. But the forward pass was on display at the home of the armed forces, or the Army specifically in West Point, against Notre Dame.
No. I got this book here. I just went and grabbed it. It's called The League. Now, the title description says how 5 rivals created the NFL and launched a sports empire, by John Eisenberg. This book, it's called The League. At the beginning of this book, even before college football was really a matter of fact. George Halas is the reason why college football really was even a thing.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. You be glad. Good looking out for the show topic for next week. I'm glad. See, now you're going to make me go through the book and then write down some of the stuff I have highlighted in the book, which when I started reading it were surprising to me that George Halas had so much.
Don't blame the book. We know it's
I'm not
okay.
blaming. How am I blaming the book? I'm giving George Halas.
We know you received it by carrier pigeon or telegram.
Yeah, exactly. What difference does it make how I got it? It's the information in it. It's the information in it that's accurate. How I got it or how I came about it is irrelevant. Yeah.
Or even slower by the U.S. Post Office.
I work at no. See, that's but guess what, Gully? But guess what? Hold on. Guess what my line is to people?
Personal foul.
No, it's not. No. We're not. No.
That is a red flag. That is one foul.
No, nobody's paying Richard Donaghy any attention. With my line to people who say that, because I've heard a lot of people say that we don't get our mail. Guess what? I work at the post office and I don't get mine either. Next question. Anyway, yeah, we gonna reserve this.
Can we just say real quickly that Patrick Mahomes is a pocket passer that is revolutionizing the game because of his ability.
Why would we say that? What's already understood, Nina? What's already understood?
No. Pretty soon here.
No, we cannot say that.
Was it Andy Reid or was it Patrick Mahomes? I can't wait.
That's what we're about to hear.
Who's about to hear that? Y'all do. Hold on. When we had that conversation about two other guys, y'all was the first ones to talk about it was the system. Yeah, don't make me pull that tape. Anyway, can we move on, please? Thank you very much. And I'm not about to tell you anything about Patrick Mahomes is this or that. I'm not going that far into detail, but I will tell you he's different than most I've seen. All right? Yeah. But speaking of the Packers, finally. Gully. Oh, please. What you mean finally? Man, you better check my record. Gully, do you think this is Rodgers is destined to silence the doubters? And this is where that whole idea of fandom and asking the question of reality, when reality, gets an invite. Because RB swears up and down that Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT because he's a Packers fan. But even though Bart Starr has more Super Bowl titles than Aaron Rodgers, even though Aaron Rodgers has lost we won't know until Sunday or Saturday, whatever day it is, to this NFC Championship. But up until then, all these accolades Aaron Rodgers got, and rightfully so. But, in the games that matter more than others, dare I say, he's maybe the James Harden, excuse me, of the NFL. He's like 0-5 in NFC championships. He can get there, but he can't anyway. But, yeah, that was part of why, I said that, it's fandom and this reality thing because he's got one Super Bowl. And the same person would tell me, on one hand, depending on who he's talking about, and that's I noticed that here lately. It's depending on who you like, it's a different set of rules. But different strokes for different folks. I get it. I can handle all of it. He liked the guy, so his one Super Bowl ring is equivalent to Bart Starr's too, because he was the GOAT, or as he keeps saying, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. But then again, on the other side, like I said, he mentions, when it depends on some other guy. Yeah, but he only got 3 championships. He only got 2 rings. He only got 3. Oh, okay, so rings matter when it's a guy you don't like. But then rings don't matter. But you get where I'm going with this. Gully, I mean, is Aaron Rodgers destined to silence the doubters if he should win his second Super Bowl after losing how many NFC championships? Okay, I'm sorry. But he's a bad, bad man. But he ain't got as many as his predecessor, who, of course, played in Super Bowl 1, 2. Oh, did I? Go ahead and answer the question, Gully, because while we at it, I'm going to bring up something about Bart Starr. Go ahead.
Well, this is going to be an interesting week. I still am doing my calculations on who I think I'd pick to win this game this weekend. But I think this is Aaron Rodgers' last best chance to get it done this season to win a Super Bowl. I think this would be his last best chance to actually, to get that done, assuming he can get, assuming he can get past the AFC champion, whomever that might be, Brother Rich. I think you have some ideas. But
no, I don't.
Yeah, this is this is his best shot. His team is going to be as complete as they're ever going to be. He's never going to have a team around him that he had once in 2011. that won the Super Bowl versus Pittsburgh. So this is going to be it for him. Certainly, he's proven this year that he can win it, and that he's not going to let us play, or he's not going to muck it up, if you will. So all that being said, he got a tough challenge with Tampa Bay. I don't care that they're at home. Lambeau Field advantage means nothing, especially when you don't have really much of a crowd. But this is it.
Yeah, but it do when it's cold.
So it's a banger bust.
Yeah, it do when it's cold, though, I think, to some degree. Before I come to you, Brother Rich, let me just point out right quick about Bart Starr. And this is what I also find interesting when folks are having a conversation about championships, all right? And we're going to save this actually for another day, but I will throw this out here. He's a 5-time NFL champion and a 2-time Super Bowl champion. If I'm looking at this correctly, the man got 7 altogether. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 5. So he got 3 NFL championships and 2 Super Bowls. But they don't talk about the NFL championships because they're not called Super Bowls. But we'll discuss that at a later time. Brother Rich, is Aaron Rodgers destined to silence the doubters this year, in your opinion?
Without a doubt. Unfortunately, he's going up against someone with even more to prove than himself. Because if Aaron Rodgers does not win, the question could be asked, who has more pressure on them? And if you ask me, I believe it's Brady. Because Brady is the one who decided to take his talents to Tampa, if you will. Aaron
No, he
Rodgers
did
has
not.
done exactly what you just. Yes, he did.
No, Brady
Yes,
was
he did. In
Brady
the
was
sense that he
ousted.
chose-
Bill
No, of
Belichick
course
did
he
not
was
want him
forced
no
out,
more.
But what I'm talking about, yes, of course he was forced out in that sense of it. But in terms of where he
Oh, he
would go
chose.
to
Okay,
play,
yeah,
he
okay,
could
I
have
got you.
retired.
Okay,
He
okay,
could
I
have
got you.
retired, and
I got
he
you.
chose to say that, look, well, I'm going to show you. You don't want me, I'm going over here, and I'm going to show you what I can do. Now, will it be the biggest blemish on his record? No, perhaps not. It won't sully the fact that people still see him as the GOAT. In Aaron Rodgers' case, if he doesn't deliver, he'll be like another team that's playing this weekend that's going to do what they do. Some teams go to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row and lose. Buffalo, but I'm not talking about that.
Wow.
So
But
teams do
hold on. But guess what?
Teams have circumstances, situations, legacies that are
Yeah.
attached to them. So, you think loser, Buffalo Bills.
Okay, but you don't think that with the Browns.
You know, that kind of thing.
Okay, got you.
Yeah,
But Gully,
you know.
you see how history is relevant when he making a point, but it's irrelevant when you and I are making the point. You get what I'm trying to say? That's what I mean. You know, that's what I'm talking
Absolutely.
about. Yeah, okay, got you. I'm glad we all noticed that. I'm glad it was recorded live too. Double J, we come to you. We got to actually move this thing along here so we can get on up out of here so everybody can go to their dinner tables. But is Aaron Rodgers destined to silence the doubters this year? Should he win his second Super Bowl?
I think he already has. I mean, I at this point, anybody that's really doubting him would really need to get their head checked.
Oh, well, sign me up then.
This is a 53-man
Sign me up.
roster.
Yeah, sign me up. I mean, I'm self-admittedly a head case, so it's to be expected dealing with me. But go ahead, continue.
You know, this is still the same guy that said in the off season of last year, I need some help. And the help never came. Instead, they drafted his replacement, you know, with their, you know, first swing at the bat. So with all of that being said, you know, he's someone that has had a couple different coaches at this point. So, again, new systems and same result. Now, we've seen what that same coach, you know, that he had all that success with, did when he left. And speaking of his opponent, his opponent has been, you know, has more trips to the conference title game than those Cowboys of yours, you know, in the last, you know, 20 years. So, you know, I'm going to say that as well. So as far as Rodgers goes, this isn't his, you know, last dance with this thing. I think Brady has yet another date with destiny. He's proven that not only is he not a system quarterback, and his current head coach is taking jabs at his existing head coach, or previous head coach rather, for reasons unknown. Ultimately here, we're going to have two GOATs going up against one another for the Super Bowl, because I'm not going to acknowledge that the mafia and herd of lunch meat is going to somehow represent the AFC. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that sounds biased as hell to me. Doesn't it? Doesn't that sound biased to you, Gully? That sounds biased to me. Yeah, I won't.
I did a question about.
Thank you. You see what I'm saying?
Deal
with the yeah. I don't want to give Buffalo credit, but we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. You see what I'm saying in the Packers? You see what I'm saying? You keep both of them. They keep exposing themselves.
Man.
Listen. That's from riding that drop top in the Cleveland weather with the top down, okay, and sunglasses on. Man, y'all need your heads examined. Okay, up next, the Ravens at the Bills. We all saw how that turned out or whatnot, and the Bills did. I know that our two illustrious co-hosts, one from Michigan and one from Chicago, Atlanta, New Jersey, New York. I don't know, pick your city. They don't want to give credit to. But the question is surrounding the Ravens. Lamar got to prove he can beat you with that arm. I just mentioned that. Do you all agree with that, Brother Rich? Do you agree with that or no?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He has to prove that. That's yet to be proven. Absolutely.
Okay, because the Bills did a pretty good job. I thought the Ravens, I'm honest, not going to lie, I thought the Ravens was going to run all over the Bills. I did, because the Bills had trouble all year stopping the run. It was on the back end of their defense that, and their linebackers was pretty good. The Bills are fast. They're not big, and you can run on up the middle, and teams were doing that for the most part, and I thought that's what the Ravens would do. I thought it was going to be a two-headed monster, Dobbins and Lamar. I just thought it was going to be steady dose of that, with a few passes mixed in, but a steady dose of that. And the Bills took, surprisingly.
The Ravens were exposed for being nothing more than
one-dimensional,
a phenomenal young man and playing quarterback. They're absolutely.
Okay, that's all right. That's
absolutely.
That's what I thought when they beat the Browns 47-42. My first question was not about Baker Mayfield, as most people, not on this program, of course, one that said it, but wanted to point out how he didn't play. I said, why are we not first starting with Joe Woods? Okay, there's no way in the world. He ain't got the pieces. That don't mean you don't try. Didn't I say that earlier? Imagine that. Yeah, you still put a spy. You don't try. You don't not try by not putting a spy. Did that make sense? I don't think so. Yeah, Double J, do you agree Lamar got to prove he can beat you with his arm?
Let's face it here.
Oh,
that
my
team's
gosh.
overachieved.
That what? That team did what?
I'm sorry?
Well, I didn't hear you said. You said. Let's face it here. That team did what? I didn't hear you.
You're referring to the other team up north, and Josh Allen and the D Gullies.
What?
No, I said, can Lamar beat you with his arm? see, yeah, Brother Rich, you might want to cancel that that partnership, because you might want to. Double J is man. Are you in Vegas right now? That's what it is. You at the slot tables. Gotta be.
You know what? Let's just get it over with. The conference championship game is Sunday. Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo, who surprised everyone, especially two esteemed co-hosts on this program, by being 13-3, being consistent all year, having the second seed. The only team better than them was the defending Super Bowl champs. They played consistently well. They silenced the critics. They've shown the potential. Josh Allen has shown that he's a capable quarterback. What say you? What can they do in Kansas City in the AFC Championship to maybe advance to a Super Bowl?
Okay, but Gully, but listen,
they can't do anything.
But Gully, let me tell you something.
Cleveland Cavaliers coming up against Michael Jordan.
Oh my gosh,
here
we go.
But
you said the Browns could beat them.
Couldn't get it done.
Oh man,
Josh
stop
Allen
it.
and the boys just can't get it done. They're up against Jordan.
Gosh.
They're up against Jordan himself.
I got you. Now he's back to being Jordan. But anyway, but Gully, the one thing that's consistent about these two is their inconsistency and their bias. You see what I'm saying? They are so
Yes.
consistently biased. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah. No, give me back my Skocks. No, you take my sweater. Give me back, Mommy. Anyway, but I was going to ask the questions, are the Bills for real? Brother Richard just so adamantly pointed out, no, he emphatically, no. Brother Richard, do you think no. Brother Richard, you going, no, get off my lawn. That's what he's like right now, even though he got 10 toes down in the sand. Okay, we're just going to go right to the Bucs and the Saints. We kind of covered this a little bit, talking about the Bucs, of course. But did we see the last of Drew Brees, Double J?
You know, when you see him take almost a final look before heading into the locker room, he stuck around after, with his family, and of course Tom Brady, came over as well. It certainly has that feel. It's not the storybook ending, but by any means. He's going to have some time to think about it, but all indications are this was it. Both from him and anyone else outside of the situation as well. But then again, let's see how this thing plays out, because if Brady goes and wins it all, and drives away in the sunset, of course.
Okay, I think I get where you're going.
D. Gully, who knows what may happen? Maybe he'll have to play another year as well. But according to those you two jackals, but
oh,
look, this is going to be it.
So now we're Thundercats.
A passing of the torch from Brady to Mahomes at Mahomes' expense this time around. And then off he goes.
Wait up.
Breeze,
Gully, are you hearing this? You hearing this backpedaling? You hear this backtracking? Are you hearing this, Gully?
Well, I'm saying that he may have. Look, you've said it countless times. On
Oh,
program.
Now I'm getting
You've
credit for
it up
something.
And a couple.
Oh boy.
Published, from the nonfiction section. We're assuming.
Oh, wow. From the nonfiction section. Now I'm getting credit for something? Imagine that. I'm listening.
The reality of it is this. If you look at the Saints defense was arguably better, and certainly the best of the remaining team. The second best defense is currently Tampa. So despite Rodgers' greatness, Brady's going to have a chance to win that game. One thing that is going to be the unsung hero. Brady's not going to have to win this weekend's game because, again, the run game for Green Bay is atrocious. So you're going to see Ronald Jones. For those that are considering some wagers, this is where you're going on the overs for whatever the lines are for Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. As far as Mahomes goes, you're going to see those two, one arm over the shoulder at the end of that Super Bowl. It'll be the hallmark moment and somewhat of a candlelit vigil as well. I'm sure there will be plenty of eulogies from all of the commentators from, in 50 languages.
Sounded to me like you hating on Tony Romo.
For Josh Allen and the D-Go.
You sound like Booger McFarland right now. I just want to point out, too. Yeah, you really did. You did a good job, too, impersonating. You almost had me fooled right there, right quick. If I hadn't seen the Michigan call number on the screen, I would have been totally hoodwinked and bamboozled. Yeah. The Bucs are getting back Vita Vea, the nose tackle, so that should be interesting. The guy broke his ankle. See, when they say stuff like that, they say he broke his ankle in week 5 or something or another, or the second week of the season. Now he's back by the playoffs. It couldn't be, bro. He may have cracked it or something or another, but you're not breaking no ankle and coming back and playing football on it. I don't care how modern medicine is. Come on, man. Cut me in or cut it out. This is the outlandishness I be talking about. It's the wordplay. Guy comes back from a broken ankle. Really? He's going to be playing 8-9 weeks later in the doggone playoffs? Stop it. And then last but not least, we get for our divisional round recap, we, of course, get to the Browns and the Chiefs. Now, I didn't see the game initially. I slept through it. You know, that's that drive back from South Carolina to do that to you. But I did see a replay, and I got two things that stood out. Number one, I tip my hat to the Browns. It's been a long time since we were able to have a conversation about them in regards to a playoffs, or any type of scenario of that nature. So kudos to them for that. And it was good for the city. You know what I mean? A lot of people who usually hate each other, you know, were all hugging despite COVID and 6 feet restrictions. Didn't look like it to me. But that Mahomes hit.
Come on, get real here, host. Nobody's buying that. You hated on that team all season long.
Listen here, Booger. Slow it down, okay? This is not Goonies. We're not filming the Goonies. The two things that stood out to me for that game was Mahomes, that hit on Mahomes from, what's his number? What's 51? What's his number? Help me out. Mac Wilson. Mahomes got dinged up, okay? He was a little woozy getting up. I get that. But they say, but to see him jog off the field, whatever, is a good sign. It was a great sign, actually. Look, I'm not by no means saying I'm Mahomes or on Mahomes level, but I've had a concussion before. When you have a concussion, and in the process of my head hitting the floor, it was in a basketball game. My head hit the floor. I broke my collarbone in 2 places. When you have a concussion, all I kept hearing, and it's almost like I could taste it too. That's kind of weird now that I think back on it. It was a ringing, a constant in my head, man, for about 3 friggin' weeks. I could not eat. I could not. Man, I didn't even remember playing in the game. I think I've told you all this before in this scenario, in the situation, so I won't go all the way down that road. But I've been dinged up before too, and it's momentary. It really is. You get dinged up, you lose your whereabouts. It may take you a day, and then you can go back to watching your favorite cartoon. But a concussion, for real concussion, no. It's gonna take a little bit more than protocol for you to get back out there. And they're already talking about he didn't pass something in Mahomes, that is. Didn't pass something or another and this and that, and he'll be back. So he'll definitely play in that game. Even if they have to maybe sit him out a quarter just to give him some extra rest or whatnot, he'll definitely play in the AFC Championship. And then that Sorensen hit. This, again, is what I mean by the fandom. People who were rooting against the Browns say that hit was clean. I posted a picture of it on Facebook. I think I tagged you, Gully, and Double J in it. Per or by the rule, you cannot hit a player with the crown of your helmet. Am I wrong? Am I missing something there? You cannot hit a player with the crown of your helmet.
Right.
There is a steel shot, and I say a steel shot, blown up of Sorensen. You can see the top of his head hitting the ear hole of Higgins. Now, I don't care about what he fumbled out of the bounds and all. I could give a crap less about all of that because I don't like that rule as it is. You know, did he do a football move? How are you supposed to do a football move and you're diving for the pylon? I mean, please, if that's the case, that was the football move and the ball anyway. But the crown, per the rule, the crown of his helmet hit that dude in the side of his head. Hey, they make bad calls all the time. All I question is the inconsistency. Can we please have some consistency is all I ask. That's all I ask. Because I'm going to tell you, watching that game, even though Mahomes was out, and I'm mad at the Browns, that doggone 3rd and 14, that brought back shades of Elway in the drive. Go back and look at that game. Dave Pazzulli had sacked John Elway. It was 3rd and 18. 3rd and 18. And Marty Schottenheimer, coaching, called for a prevent. You don't stop doing what it is that got you in the position. Whatever you did to get the Broncos in 3rd and 18, why go away from that? I get it. The whole idea was don't let them beat you over the top and tackle in front of you. Man. Oh, man. Anyway, I don't want to relive that. When you talk about Gully, we're not going to discuss our Browns fandom with them anymore from this day forward. You get what I'm saying? Are you with me, Gully?
Yeah. Your team is in Baltimore.
My team is not the Baltimore. Man, stop it. Here you go, making up stuff. I keep telling you, man, imagination ain't the same as truth. Here you go, making up stuff as you glow along. It's all good. Yeah, but that hit from Sorensen. That should be, the league should, well, I mean, they probably not. But, you know, that would happen to Baker, what, last year or year before, his first year? When he was running towards the end zone, he got helmet to helmeted, and they didn't call it then? Yeah, you know, favoritism and nepotism. That's what sports is nowadays, right? So, when it comes to the Chiefs, why does it seem, though, that, well, I'm sorry, let's let Brother Richard and Double J speak on their Cleveland Browns. Would you all like to say something about the Browns? Do you all agree with the question I asked in regards to that game as far as the Browns are concerned?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
That's a very appropriate question, but we're not even dealing with that. The team represented, and they are who we thought they are, a young, upcoming team that has finally arrived, and everybody, the consensus is and was, like we said they would be, that team has arrived, and they would be taken seriously, and they would have, the bandwagon would continue to increase. And I'm telling you right now that if we have a season next year, this team is here to stay, and this team, if you paid attention, when they beat Pittsburgh, that was the passing of the torch in the AFC. And believe it or not, they got Baltimore's number now. They don't have, that's straight up. That's mano y mano. Cincinnati is up and coming, and right now in the AFC, you better pay attention to the Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. Pay attention.
You know who else said that actually? Dan Orlovsky. He was a quarterback. He was a quarterback at Connecticut, by the way. For all of you all non-collegians out there, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, y'all really don't want to go down that road with me. You know what I'm saying? I'll be playing.
Where is he at? Cleveland Media?
No, he's not.
One too many hits to the head for our host. Dan Orlovsky, part of an 0-16 team, also notable plays running out of the end zone.
But see that. Listen, but Dan Orlovsky said he was on your side. See what I'm saying, Gully? They don't even know when to take the credit. You know what I'm trying to tell you? They so quick. Dan Orlovsky said the same thing you said, Brother Rich. So, Double J, does that apply to Brother Rich, what you just said there? Dan Orlovsky
who
said.
Is Dan Orlovsky? What is he? He's on what he's local Cleveland? Media?
No, he's on Get Up. He's sitting next to your boy, Mike Greenberg in New York.
Yeah. I don't watch Get Up.
I don't
watch. I don't know what
I don't.
Get Up is.
I don't.
I know what it is, but I don't watch Get Up.
Yeah, I don't either. But a friend of mine sent me the clip. He said, "Man, can you believe he said this about
So
Baker?"
he said what?
He said that Baker Mayfield and the Browns. They were talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. As a matter of fact, Ryan Clark even said it too. He was like, "Man, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they better do something quick because the Browns are coming." He said the Browns got basically the Ravens, and he said we don't really know what the Bengals going to be. You know, we know they got Joe Burrows or whatnot, but they emphasize what the Browns, what the future is, and folks need to look forward to the Browns because the AFC North is not the same because the Browns are coming. That's basically what Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky said. But because you and Double J are already scripted to be biased, you know what I'm saying? It just spews forth with. Anyway, what were you saying, Gully? This is unbelievable.
You know, again, the only Get Up I recognize as far as early in the morning is from the Gap Band.
Oh, my.
Nevertheless, you take the compliment when you can. I'm sure that pained him as well as that network to.
What do you mean take the compliment when you can? You and Brother Rich don't give out compliments at all.
Major market.
You and Brother Rich don't give out compliments.
Cannot be denied.
Oh, please. Oh, stop it. You and Brother Rich are terrible at giving out compliments. Faux pas, maybe. Yeah, oh yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. Well, why am I bleeding from back there? You done stuck me all in with a shiv. Okay, so let's go around the table right quick so we can get out of here. I appreciate you as always, fellas. Y'all this was a great run. We all know right now what what it's gonna be like. You know what I mean? But now I need you all to. Well, we won't pick the Super Bowl winners or Super Bowl combatants right now. What we will do is pick the Bills at the Chiefs and the Bucks at the Packers in these championship games. Brother Rich, who you got in the Bills and Chiefs?
Chiefs, without a doubt.
Oh, of course. Imagine that. Yeah, okay. Oh, now he's Jordan. Got you. But had Baker beat anyway. Double J, who you got? Bills at the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Oh, I'm going with the Mahomie.
Oh, now you're his buddy. Okay, got you. Check the tape. Gully, who you got?
Buffalo in the shocker.
So I'm
Buffalo by 3.
You know, that's crazy because that's what that line is. Isn't that line 3.5, Double J?
That is correct.
That's interesting.
And because Buffalo is the highest scoring offense in the AFC.
Are
Kansas
they?
City.
Oh, wow.
And Buffalo played in a tougher division in the AFC North than Kansas City in the AFC West.
Oh, did they? No, Buffalo played in the AFC
Yes.
East. What are you talking about?
AFC East. I'm sorry, AFC East. My bad.
The AFC East.
I don't know. They call us East, but we're in the Midwest. Never mind.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I know. They
Geographically,
geographically
okay,
effed it all up. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Or should I say, excuse me, mucked it all up. I don't know if the AFC East is better or worse than the AFC West. That's another topic for another day too. But
I mean, record-wise, the AFC West, AFC East had. I mean, yeah.
Record-wise, with the Dolphins,
the AFC East had better teams.
I guess. Who's all in the AFC? I guess. Yeah, the Jets.
Oh yeah, the daunted. I mean, they're just like their cousins in the NFC East.
Oh boy, I was trying to avoid that, Gully.
Like the daunting.
Yeah. Oh,
New York Jets.
Yeah.
And of course,
who might get Deshaun Watson?
Cam Newton,
Tennessee Dolphins. Go ahead. The Tennessee Dolphins.
Yeah. Speaking of the Jets, they might get Deshaun Watson. Yeah. I'd like to know. That's why I think I'm gonna do a poll question. Gully, we're gonna have to put a poll question up. If you're a fan of an NFL team, would you not want Deshaun Watson on your team? The only people who wouldn't want Deshaun Watson on their team is the Kansas City fans. Anyway, but I got the last pick as far as the AFC Championship. It's a pick 'em. Ha ha. I'm neutral, baby. I'm 50-50. You know, I do like Brother Rich and Double J sometimes. I'm on both sides of the street at the same time, baby. It's a pick 'em. And you know why it's a pick 'em? I don't like that line. This early on, 3.5, it's probably going to, 3.5 is going to probably get down to 1.5 too by game time. Which is a Saturday or Sunday? It don't make no difference. Going to probably get down to 1.5. I don't like that line at all. Therefore, I'm 50-50, baby. It's a pick 'em. You've seen that too when it comes to the line. And over to the, NFC side of things, Brother Rich, who you got? Bucks at the Packers.
I got to go with the one that is the GOAT, Tom Brady.
Some would argue that Joe Montana is, but that's a story. That's another story for another day too. And I'm one of them ones. Double J, who you got? The Bucks or the Packers?
I didn't see Jim Montana. I seen this guy.
Well, you live right next door to him. That's sad, man. Y'all neighbors, you and Joe Montana, that is, and y'all don't even speak to each other. That's sad.
Stop.
I'm mad at you for that. I told you to give me a jersey, autographed jersey. You know what I'm saying? So I could pay for the kids' college tuition. But it's all good. I see how you playing your boy. Double J, who you got, man? Bucks at the Patriots. Oh, excuse me, the Packers.
No, and we're going Tom Brady. This is he's got a date with destiny.
Oh wow, really? Seriously, Gully, who you got, man? The Bucks or the Packers?
Man, this is even tougher than the Chiefs and the Bills. I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers in another shocker. Road teams win this week in championship weekend.
Dang. Well, I am going to pick one in this one. And as much as I begrudgingly, I picked the Packers. Begrudgingly. Only because there's something about that Lambeau leprechaun. But then on the flip side, I watched Eli Manning, who as I've heard some Packers fans allude to, the only reason Eli Manning will get into the Hall of Fame is because of his last name. But he managed to beat both Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, or should I say not beat, but derail their Super Bowl aspirations in those particular seasons. But yet and still, he's only Eli that is going to get on because of his last name. But anyway, so I'm wondering now, let me rethink this. Yeah, I'm still going to go with the Packers. There's something about that Lambeau leprechaun. Them summer guns is real lucky up there. But as far as being the GOAT, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers is not the GOAT. Sorry. He's not. As Brother Richard mentioned, Tom Brady, you can make a case for it. Aaron Rodgers, the guy's resume is highly impressive, Aaron Rodgers is. But, I mean, you know, for all of that impressive resume in the regular season and individual statistics and all of this good kind of stuff, or whatever it is, you know, he ain't really no better than Tony Romo. Well, he does have a Super Bowl, I will admit that, but I'm just saying, Tony Romo was lauded during his playing days for having such a high QBR rating. Wherever that stat comes from, I'm still waiting on somebody to tell me, oh, Tony Romo's QBR career was 96.75, but it never translated to the playoffs. For all of Rodgers' acumen and accolades and accomplishments and awards, again, tip my hat to him. You know, it don't transfer, you know, in NFC championships. All right, then they want to blame the defense and all the other factors. But when they win, and that's interesting too, you know, we always want to get a quarterback credit. All right, got you. I feel you. Fellas, as always, this was a good one, and I appreciate y'all all the time. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here on the Spreaker.com network, I'd like to say. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and give us a follow. Also, we'd like to say, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can hop on over to the shop's Facebook fan page. And if that don't work, I want you to Google it. For my mans, B. Rich, Double J, D. Gully, and all those who follow and support us, we say thank you. I'm Barbershop J, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla!